You ever just look around at the world and get this feeling that something is just fundamentally off? You know that feeling that the wrong people are winning, that they're getting ahead, while good people are left behind? Well, it's a question people have been wrestling with forever, and it's right at the heart of this ancient but surprisingly modern story we're going to dive into today.
I mean, this is the question, right? It's a real gut punch of a question, isn't it? We see it all the time, on the news, in our own neighborhoods, maybe even in our own lives. And it's the kind of thing that can make you question everything you thought you knew about fairness, about justice in the universe. But believe me, you are not the first person to ask this, not by a long shot.
So, let me introduce you to Habakkuk. He was a prophet living more than 2,500 years ago, and he saw his world just falling apart, spiraling into chaos and injustice. But here's the thing about him. Unlike a lot of people, he didn't just sit back and quietly accept it. No, he took his complaint, his confusion, his anger, and he went straight to the top. He actually dared to ask God the hard questions.
So what was going on? What was Habakkuk seeing that pushed him right to the edge? Well, his first complaint, it's this raw, emotional cry for justice in a world that seems to have completely forgotten what that even means.
Wow, you can just feel the pain in those words, can't you? For him, this isn't some abstract philosophical debate. It's real. It's personal. He's seeing all this suffering, all this corruption, day in and day out, and the silence from God is just deafening. He feels trapped, like he's being forced to watch this broken world with no help in sight.
And look, Habakkuk's complaint wasn't just about a few bad apples. He saw a society where violence was just normal. Conflict was everywhere. And the very systems that were supposed to protect people, the laws, totally powerless. Justice wasn't just slow, it was completely off the rails, with corrupt people literally surrounding anyone who's trying to do the right thing.
So you'd think the answer would be something comforting, right? Like, don't worry, Habakkuk, I've got this, I'll fix it. But what he gets is, well, it's anything but comforting. In fact, God's answer is so shocking, it kind of makes the original problem look small.
Yeah, you heard that right. God's response is absolutely mind-blowing. He basically says, you think things are bad now? Just watch. I'm going to bring judgment. And my tool for the job is an empire that is way more violent, way more ruthless, and way more unjust than your own people. We're talking about the Babylonians, who were famous for their brutality. This is not a solution. It's a massive escalation.
And this chart just lays out the paradox perfectly. So Habakkuk's problem is, injustice is winning, and God's answer is, I'm going to use an even greater injustice to punish them. How in the world does that make sense? It's like trying to put out a fire with a flamethrower. It just completely breaks any human idea of what justice is supposed to look like.
So this shocking answer, it forces Habakkuk to dig even deeper. His first question was about God's inaction, right? Why aren't you doing anything? But his second question, it's about God's very character. He's not just asking about bad things happening anymore. He's asking something much, much more profound.
And there it is. This is the absolute heart of the matter. If God is supposed to be perfectly good, totally holy, how can he possibly partner with, or even just use, something as profoundly evil and corrupt as the Babylonian Empire? It feels like a total contradiction. It challenges everything Habakkuk thought he knew about who God is.
And this is his second challenge, and it's even more pointed. He's basically saying, look, I know you're good. I know you're pure. So how can you just stand by and watch this happen? How can you let a monstrously evil empire swallow up a nation that, yeah, it's flawed, but it's still more righteous than its attacker? The silence now isn't just about injustice in the world. It's about a seeming contradiction in God's own nature.
So where does that leave us? I mean, we've got an impossible question and a God whose plans seem completely incomprehensible. The resolution that comes next? Well, it's not the neat, tidy explanation that Habakkuk, or let's be honest, that we would want. Instead, it's a huge, profound shift in perspective. See, God doesn't give Habakkuk a detailed flowchart of the cosmic plan. He doesn't explain away the problem of evil. Instead, he gives him a principle, a whole new way to live. He says that in the middle of all this chaos and confusion, the only way forward for a righteous person is to live by faith. But it is so important that we understand what faith means here. It's not about just closing your eyes, plugging your ears, and pretending everything's fine. It's actually the opposite. It's about looking the chaos square in the face and choosing to trust that even when nothing makes sense, God is still just and is working towards an ultimate good that we just can't see yet. It's a rugged, hard-won trust. And so this ancient prophet's struggle, it becomes our struggle, doesn't it? Habakkuk never got the full explanation. What he got
was a new way to orient his life. And that leaves us with the exact same challenge. When we're faced with a world that seems so unjust, when the wicked seem to be winning and our biggest questions go unanswered, how do we, too, learn to live by that same steadfast trust?